On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, 25 million downloads, a humdinger of a milestone, and also we've got new interludes announced. Thank you, Lisangle.
Hey.
And lots of other stuff. It's been about a week since this event came out. How do people feel about it now? Well, you'll have to see. So, that lovely chuckling voice there you heard is your favorite Meeple co-host, Lucky. And I am your lucky cardboard game piece, which is slowly melting from the heat, Omega. You need to store us in a cool, dry place, guys.
Speaking of which, I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka Viva la France. And while we here at Studio Omega like to bring you the latest in FGO news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for the JP and EN version of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should attack mad shit for someone in servant range.
I think I get that reference. And hey, before we go any further, I do want to remind you this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Adam Harp, Aga Comics, Arctic 10, Lucas G, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Just the Fae, Jonathan Sandoval, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Regional Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robyn, Sharvar, Sean Pryor, some guy named Bob, starring Tony Fee, and Varian the Crow. If you like what we do, must do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early on to the goodies, and it really helps us out. You can be part of the Peanut Gallery right now, who joined us for a lovely conversation for like 20 minutes about ads before we got started.
I had more things to say about that conversation, but I had to step away for a second, so I'm slightly upset. I was like, God damn it.
Well, maybe we can cycle back to it in WhatsApp. Like I said, I've strongly debated writing that little dream diary of what ads I get served on YouTube, because I think the internet would find it interesting because it's weird. But hey, here we are. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Let's Talk FGO. That's what we do. We're FGO, we talking. Let's see. How far we go? Okay, we're like 2 minutes in. Though, I don't know if... I don't want to, like, jinx anything, so knock on desk. My desk is not made of wood. But we didn't get in trouble, even though Lucky dropped, like, 3 hard F-bombs right at the start of Zelda. So, who knows?
Victory.
Just so long as Loft doesn't drop a hard F or hard C bomb in the first 30 seconds. So long as he doesn't Australia me, we're okay. But let's check in with everybody's favorite Kohai Mash.
Senpai! 起きてください.
Because it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, Requiem Discussion for pro tips. I don't have a lot this week. My success on this event has been very mixed and very goopy. But there is something that I think you guys should be aware of. I have actually recently heard people reporting that they are not having a great time clearing all them Coldopoly spaces. And as a reminder, there are plenty of dice in the shop if you need some. Like if you've been farming, for currency to get CEs or whatever, and you're not quite up and up on your dice, or if you need a particular dice so you can avoid going to jail again, consider, buying some dice out of the storefront if you already got all the other shit you need. Food for thought.
I mean, once you start getting the numbered dice, it's a lot easier. You just got to get in the ballpark of the untapped one.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely experimented with, like, slow dice versus fast dice. Like, I was like, oh, I'm literally 3 spaces from go. There's no point in rolling a regular or fast die.
Yeah.
I will just stop. Or, I'm within 3 spaces of go to jail. Maybe I should roll 4, 5, or 6. Just think about it like you're playing Mario Party.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the best way to do it. Just pay attention to the board because, like, if you haven't noticed already, once you've actually cleared a space, one of the lights on one of the panels will go out, like letting you know that part is done. So,
and if you've got the tokens, there is another icon that goes dark as well.
Yeah.
So you can keep track of your progress. There's a lot of visual work that went into this event. If only that work had been done in every part of this event. Oh well, alas.
I'm gonna yell about someone needing to respect my fucking choices here. I'm both a fucking story and a fucking meta context here. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, I'm starting to see why this event wasn't super popular. Spoilers. I'm not gonna say this event sucks, but parts of it are certainly a slog. I talked about last week how I didn't think Werewolf is the best paced. I was saying that purely on volume of text. That was before I got hip deep in, hey, do you want to do 2 ghost fights every fucking time you want to advance the story? No? Too bad. Okay, guys, just give me free quests. It's fine. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Records on the Throne, a regular achievement topic. So I did 2 more 10 spins I shouldn't have, but I did secure the Dino Wife.
It is good.
I beat Game 5. That's as far as I've gotten. I have not cleared the final game yet because you need 35 tokens to do that. Because we're double plot locked. We have time gates and tokens. And I've been mostly binging story where possible. I've been slacking a little on my board, but That's where Kiyo Koyo gets introduced in the story, and I was just like, oh no, my heart! So I spent 60 quartz, but I did get her. Yay.
Oh wait, so did you at least get to the twist / reveal?
Yeah. I'm done with
Okay,
Game 5,
perfect.
so I have my temporary Erice as well.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because my record is I got past that story. I got my temporary Reese as well, and I did get her to level 80. And Megan, you're probably gonna want to do that as well because later in the story they make you bring your temporary Reese.
Yeah. I've noticed they already
did.
did that a couple of times.
Okay.
In the conclusion of Game 5,
Well, no. There's a fight
I know because I'm at that gate, the part where you go to space again in the tram, and the tram is like, you need 35 tokens, and I'm like, I don't have 35 tokens. Well, I guess I go back to Monopoly. But yeah, I have been leveling mine as well, but she's only like 60. I think I've got most of her ascension materials though. But yes, I have noticed they do a weird thing where they give you a temporary servant very late in the event, and then they make you put her in the front line
almost immediately. I'm just like, guys,
it's very weird. What's going on here? Okay, but yeah, there we go. There's our records. We're keeping up. We're doing stuff. I have spotted some of you guys with already like max level, possibly grailed Erices with level 5, MP5 already. So good for you, I guess. But no evil this week then. Let's move in and really quick ask you, did you finish your master missions? God, I hope you did. Because to finish your master missions, you need to defeat 5 servants, defeat 10 servants, get 50, little Monopoly houses drops, get 50 point gems, which I'm not entirely sure what game that it's meant to be from. There's a couple of different games that use gems. Get 50 life counters, and then put a lance in your party 5 times. So, do the event. I know some of you don't want to do the event anymore, but you do the event to do your master missions. But that will take us swiftly on, though not too swiftly. We've been here for at least 7 minutes. Don't want to go too swiftly. By the way, in case you didn't see it, we did do a show last week. It was only an hour and a half, but it happened.
It exists. It's there.
So go back and check that out if you want some of our first impressions of stuff and keeping track of some other things. But there was no news, which is why it was short. There is news this week.
Yay.
Let us begin with the big one. JP has rolled out 25 million downloads. Everybody's been thinking this is coming for a while, but here it is. Goes from the 11th until the 18th. Log in for stuff, the usual 7 days in a row, and then also 4 days consecutive, get things. During this time period, all Ember and Hunting Grounds quests will be open, and they have, you have universal double suck chance on servants and CEs. There was a retweet campaign which earned 30 sync quartz. Interestingly enough, they are future announcing. I guess they're waiting until it's closer when the event ends, but Percival will get an interlude on the 17th. I think this is the first time they've ever pre-announced an interlude other than, like, an interlude campaign notice. And we have no details. Like, I don't think they say whether it's SQ or skill or NP or anything. Just he's getting an interlude later. So, yeah. That said, the big one is SR Servant Ticket. It includes story locks. Woo! Let's go! Yep, that's right, everybody. SR tickets came back.
Finally.
You thought they wouldn't, but they did. I guess they heard everybody. I mean, they did do a survey, fairly recently. I guess Lisingle heard everybody be like, okay, free SSRs are cool, but if you're not going to put more SSRs in there, can we get SR tickets? Thank you. And it is. And it includes story locked, so basically you have access to most of the pool. I don't believe it counts for limiteds. Let me double check. But it did include story, which I'm sure loads of people are very happy for, as you know.
I mean, I guarantee there's going to be a lot of people picking Vargas or Babanshi.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Those characters are so popular, they've gotten like 5 billion rate ups, including in this event. Spoilers for later. Spoilers for 5 minutes from now. Yeah. So, yeah, no, there's no limiteds in here, but there are story locks. So if you're missing anybody, you can still pick them up in the future. And it is current. It goes all the way to Hephaestion if you need it. So that's...
Oh, that's probably also going to be a big one.
Yeah. But this is good insurance to know. A lot of us have talked about how this upcoming year of FGO for us, the previous year for JP, is like hella rough because there's a lot of great units in there. Well, guess what? If you miss a 4-star anyway, there will be a ticket around the corner, so you can pick that one up. So that's nice.
Very nice.
There's also a permanent 4-star CE exchange ticket. So you can exchange for a 4-star CE as well. This includes both the old ones they've rotated out and some of their newer ones, and does include the Lost Belt story-locked CEs.
Oh.
Yes. You have to have completed the Lost Belt to exchange for them, but this can allow you to get an extra copy of one of those CEs if you need some action. So that's a very interesting strategy they're going for, but yeah, it's both, so that's pretty cool. We love free stuff.
I do love free stuff.
We've also got our usual rigmarole of some MP Shop expansion stuff, so more second archive space is now available in the MP Shop for CEs and servants. They added like another 20 purchases, so you can get 100 more space. Free seating and the Jalter costume are now in the Rare Prism Shop, and the Jalter costume is free if you've cleared Shinjuku, so if you missed that costume when it came out, here you go, you can get it, and possibly for free. And free seating is rotating back in. And now, here's another interesting one. We have been introduced to a new AP item. It is called the Bronze Sapling. It is rewarded for main story quests and logging in and stuff. Basically, you can activate this from your Apple menu. When you use the sapling, you spend 40 AP to turn it into an apple, which you can spend later for 40 AP. So you can bank your AP for future use, so long as you have bronze saplings. The unlock is retroactive, like all the material stuff, so this is pretty interesting. I know some people have kind of complained about FGO's AP rate and AP levels not really changing, because leveling up via master level is very slow. So this lets you basically be like, on an idle day, you can be like, well, I'm gonna go to sleep and I've got full AP. Let me just turn everything into 40 AP apples and I'll come back later. I've heard several people singing its praises in our Discord, so seems neat.
Yeah, it definitely seems neat. Again, FGO keep pushing,
and it does create the terminology is a little weird. I'm gonna want to see how they translate this because they call it a bronze sapling and a bronze apple, but it's like crystal blue. Because what I thought were bronze apples are actually supposed to be copper apples in Japanese. I always thought they were called bronze fruits over here, though, so I don't know if we're going to translate that differently, but it does create an interesting medium, because obviously gold is everything, silver is half, but the previous lowest tier, the copper tier, is 10, so while that's handy, it can be very small. So 40 is a nice medium. I think they're kind of, figuring out where people are with the AP
some
stuff.
sort of bronze is blue, though? Because bronze, if I remember correctly, is a combination of copper and tin, ain't it? Or was I remembering that wrong?
Yeah, I think there are some oxides with bronze that can be bluish.
Like, I don't know my metallurgy to save my fucking life, but I vaguely remember something about that. Let me check.
I think bronze patina's blue, copper patina's green.
Ah.
But
let's see. It's molybdenum bronze. It's it's a blue.
There is might be a version of bronze that patina's purple, which is interesting.
Wow,
metallurgy's cool, but yeah. So maybe that's what they're going for. But
maybe I don't know.
It's a little weird. We'll see. We'll see how they translate it. But it's neat. We also get some quality of life updates, as you usually do with these big events. Though, as always, we may hope that some of these come a little early. So they revamped the tutorial role. There are new servants in it. I think, for instance, Zenobia is now on the list. They did remove Helena, which is a little weird, but she's been in there since, a while. So there are now detailed FP gains. So it doesn't just say, earn this much FP, your best class was Saber. There will actually be a little window pop up and be like, your Saber, this character earned this much FP, and this character earned this much FP. So,
neat.
Yeah, it's a little breakout menu. So you can see, if particular servants are giving you particular success or not. Always good to have more information. This is my favorite. Please, for the love of God, implement this everywhere faster. Receive all mission rewards is now a button.
Yes.
No longer having to go through one by one. This, I believe, includes for both, weekly master missions and all future mission menus. There's a button to just get all. Please. Also, first quest clear now shows all rewards at once. So no longer do you have to tap through, quartz and mats and mana prisms. It's one screen. It shows you all the stuff you got. Just kind of smoothing the barriers, making things more efficient, and a shitload of servants got a full screen NP. So many bars have been killed. It's like over a dozen. I think it might be like 2 dozen. It's a lot. You can go look up the list. We also, of course, have 2 summon banners on this, because of course we do. Summon banner number 1. Dare I say, one of the most rate-up servants of the past 2 years. It's Castoria.
Surprise!
And also a Barghest, Balbanshi, and Percival rate-up. Because, of course. But we do have a stronger rotating rate-up of all limited servants. The second banner is a rotation through several days of Miss Crane, Jalter, Yang, Shuten, Mole, and Cleopatra. That's pretty good. That's, I think, about 6 months since Jacques de Mole got a rate-up in FGO, so that's nice. It's been about a year for Miss Crane as well, so, good to see those reruns scheduled. I don't remember how long it's been since Yang shoots in her Cleo. Jolter is usually pretty popular, but she does kind of ping-pong back and forth on REAPER, so the first one, I feel like, is just, like, I don't know what's going on. Are they just, leaning into the meta? But, because, like, that doesn't shock me at all, though I know some people have gotten some luck with that. But the second banner looks like it's actually a decent spread of different servants. Maybe that's what they're going for, breaking it up into, like, hey, here's some, reruns you want, and then, hey, here's some, here's, if you've missed the meta and you want to catch up, here's that one. It is very funny that they're running a Bargus Balbon and Percival raid up when there's also a SR ticket. But hey, you might have missed all of them.
People are definitely going to be
good.
Going to be heading. People are definitely going to be trying to go for that MP5 though. So
that's fair. What I was going to say was also this is a downloads milestone event, so they are also probably marketing towards people who have downloaded the game more recently, perhaps. Seems fair. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Not foundation shaking. I believe there was a stream for this. I didn't catch the archive because it was shorter, but they were here. They're doing stuff. And some of these are pretty neat. I don't know how much we'll get this early because it is 1 million downloads, but I do hope a couple of these quality of life do work their way to us a little sooner. I do believe we did get, mats on Story Clear early, so maybe we'll get that bronze sapling early.
That'd be good.
We'll see. Actually, we are in the middle of Skelegrams. Which is good because we've managed to go for like 18 minutes. Hey, thumbs up. Content.
Yeah.
Because we're not done yet. NA has also got an announcement. Slightly bamboozling to people, but I guess if you blitzed the event already, you need something to do. And NA does have a little bit of time compression to make up. Not a lot though, because there's a few dead weeks coming up. But they got a month to make up for. So, Interlude Campaign 13 has been announced. It will run from the 15th to the 22nd of May. You've got skill interludes for Sima Yi and Sherlock, and then Synchronous interludes for Sigurd, Chinchiwang Mothman, Lakshmi, and William Tell. There is a login campaign for this, login for 7 days total to get 3 Saint Quartz and 4 Golden Apples broken up in there. Not too crazy, but, just some extra juice. All interlude servants listed just now have double suck chance. And also this includes some main story clear pressure. You've got quarter AP through Lost Belt 3, half AP on Lost Belt 4, in addition to the normal half AP interludes as well. So, if you need something to do and you got some story catch-up to do, there's a little work there. The banner will also be a rotation between Rennes and Sherlock, with Lakshmi and Tell up all the time, if you were looking forward to those raid-ups. So yeah, there we go. Pretty good. But, yeah, that's all the news, really. There's not a lot to say about Interlude Campaign. I'm sure I'll be reading those interludes I can. It is a little funny that I was thinking, like, Rennes and Sherlock banner, shit, just as I was feeding Saint Quartz into the machine for Kiyo Koyo. But, hey, that's life.
That's how it be.
They think it don't be like that, but sometimes it do.
It do. Oh, you didn't mention the 0.5 in June.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They gave a hard date for that. That's not a... I think that was on stream. That's, I don't think we've got, like, a hard and fast news article for that. But yes, actually, they announced for sure 0.5, and they did... That was right. On the stream, they did show some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no... I don't think there's an official news item for it. But yeah, so this actually is pretty interesting. We can fluff even more. I love it. Mm-hmm. So, first of all, that one dude...
I believe his name Michael in the Lightweight Day event.
Yes, I was trying to remember, but yeah, he has been confirmed as showing up in 6.5, and then there's also a fuck ton of silhouettes. Can I find them in Spoiler Channel? No, probably not. Oh no, I can. Okay, no, nobody's blowing it the fuck up. First of all, a few more of these characters are very visible in the other thing. Also, the one of them is Roland. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. One of them is just Roland. You can see him. Like, it's his exact story sprite from the...
There's a lot of silhouettes of him just having the weapon over the shoulder.
Yeah. That's how he appeared in the interlude, so... Yeah, it's fine. I can also just post the silhouettes. Now, some people are also saying this middle shadowy figure, because he's got a popped collar and short hair, might be Charlemagne. I would be glad if it's Charlie, because it does seem like with Roland and, I believe Michael's identity was revealed in the event as not necessarily Mikhail, but we won't get into it. That is probably not okay to post. Don't do that. I literally just said it's not okay to say who that guy is because that's very deep in that event. We'll cross that bridge when they post a banner in June, I guess. So it's not like a pure French theme, but there seems to be some knightiness going on. There's a girl with a giant sword. So I am interested and excited, but at this point, this is just, calling your shot on story content. This is letting us know we're going to have a huge show in like 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
Or a month and a half. Maybe 2 months. This is like, what, 7 characters? No, 6 total. 5 silhouettes and then the Michael guy. So that means to me, by the way, this is a proper 6.5. This is a actual story map event like Heian Kyo was.
Mm-hmm.
And also that means 2 banners. There's 6 servants. It's 2 banners. It'll be interesting seeing how this gets broken up among rarities, right? Because there will probably be at least 2 SSRs, but what about the rest? Who knows?
I'm thinking 2 SSRs, 3 SRs, and a rare.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. That or we end up with a Hava treatment, and one of these guys is basically a welfare 4-star.
Oh, that's also true, yeah. No, but like I said, I am personally hoping for more paladins, because again, we've talked about this, the matter of France is severely unrepresented in this game.
And some of its representation has gone out of its way to be like askance, obviously Bradamante had a pretty decent involvement in a mainline event, but that doesn't have a rerun, which is weird. And Mandricardo seems to have been chosen specifically because he's fucking obscure. It's kind of part of his character thing. So it'll be interesting to see that capitalized on. And like I said before, if the middle silhouette is in fact Charlemagne, hey, great, we have literally been asking for this guy for years, literal years. But his exact look doesn't quite line up. So
well, again, they might not be using they might have had Wada Arco literally redraw him.
Yeah, or they could have picked a different artist to bring him in line with other paladins as well. I kind of hope they don't, because Wadarko got to draw him first, but
yeah. But no, it's like his Extella sprite's pretty good, but they might have wanted you don't see using Tamamo and stuff other things and whatnot. So no.
I could also imagine they may be trying to trick us with a different Ascension sprite. They have done that before.
Oh, definitely.
Because obviously. Hold on, let me actually pull up let me grab the default sprite. Yeah, so hairstyle looks pretty spot on, and he does have kind of a poofed collar, but his normal appearance in Extella is a little more relaxed than that. And also I think he has a shorter coat, but you never know with Ascensions, and they have absolutely, like we said, gone out of their way to bamboozle us before. Mm-hmm. Remember how they concealed a more Karen sprite? But to put any nail in the coffin, here is Roland's sprite in FGO. I'm pretty sure you can bust up Photoshop and do the old 1-to-1. He's even got the fucking belt lines on the silhouette. But yeah, so you are correct. I thought about jotting that down, but that was earlier in the week. But yeah, no, that's 6.5 is coming. So that probably means that, as usual, Lost Belt 7 will be late in this year. But, hey, could always use more story stuff. And I think it's fair because, plot-wise, it really seems like 5.5 and 6 are not necessarily directly related to the crisis we have revealed to be our A plot after regular Lost Belt 5, dealing with the foreign god and stuff. 5.5 and 6 feel a lot more like, well, before we deal with our main problem, we've got to, clean up loose ends. There's a couple of assholes who have evaded us. We got to go deal with them. So it'll be interesting if 6.5 is designed to kind of get us back on track or what. Proper build-up. Well, yeah, okay. All right, there. Now that's all the news, I think.
There we go.
Anybody else? Did we forget any news? I guess technically somebody posted that the Prism movie's on High Dive now, but I don't know if that's, recent news or not. Just somebody figured it out. You can check that out, I guess, if you care. If you're interested. If you're into that. Okay, it's a pretty recent ad. All right. Kind of sort of news. Anything else, chat? Nobody's typing. We're good. Well, you'll have to find out later, but how we did in the event. But first, we've got mailbag.
Mailbag. Yeah, this ain't going to take too long.
Well, it'll take a little.
It'll take a little.
A decent effort was made. What the fuck am I doing? My channel. Community tab. Posts.
And refresh. 10, Alright, so it is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to send in and comment accordingly. Today, because I only sent this in 3 hours ago, good job, Lucky, you're great at this. We only have 10, but that just means we will activate the faffening zone, because that's how we do. Without further ado, let's go. And this first one comes from Sasan of the long-ass paragraph who says, "Hey, Lucky and Mega, hope you're doing well, especially you, Lucky." No, Lucky is not doing well, but that's neither here nor there. I do love how the thread maker on Reddit for the recent stream was like, don't expect much, to be honest. And we ended up getting more info in this light stream that we did on the last two ones combined. Did we?
I mean, I guess this one was shorter, so there was less, like, faff with the actors or whatever, but, like...
Okay.
Unless they're talking specifically about the, like, Lost Belt whatever they're calling them streams, the Road to 7 stuff. But in which case, what the fuck were you expecting? Those are reminiscing streams. They're literally not about being new.
People are strange with their expectations. Let's see here. So, the updates are fascinating. The ticket is great for sure, torn between Canis, Zenobia, and Estrella in 2 years' time. But the most awesome update is the Savior AP, kind of like Condensed Resin System in Genshin. Makes farming for Lanos a lot more appealing as someone who doesn't use rainbow apples. Then what are you using your apples on? I mean, do you just Lotto farm? Are you one of those madmen? Probably. My question to the two of you is this. What quality of life would you want next? Personally, I think maybe the ability to replay stories, content at higher difficulty, or even the boss fight replay will be outstanding. Best of luck and may Castorias bless our roles. Why are people... Guys, don't... I find it very weird when you're trying, like, hey, good luck for something in 2 to 3 months' time. I'm like... It's like, I have things I need to do right now.
Unless they're talking about, like, the fact that it's a Castoria rate up right now. But as a reminder, we don't play JP.
Yeah.
I do know some people have been rolling for her, but we don't do that here.
Also, yes, Axe is correct. Please give blessings to the players of Omega's fucking StarCourt game so we do not get yeeted to the fucking Sahara Desert. Yeah, Legendary, it's the next new servant, but I got other shit to do.
Yeah, and it's still a month and a half away. We got other stuff to worry about.
Like, y'all need to calm down.
I mean, I literally talked about earlier how I'm like, yeah, so there's a Sherlock Reda's rate up, and I'm like, I probably should have done some stuff with that, but now I'm in the hole for Dino Wife, so here the fuck we are.
Like, it's good to look to the future, but don't forget to live in the now.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, this is still slightly better than how I remember the old school save for Jolter moment. Like, that was... Ooh, it was very bad at times. Everybody was saying for literal months, save for Jolter, and it's like, alright, calm down.
Save for Merlin, save for Jolter. You gotta think about it, you can fix anything until you don't.
Also, I mean, if you want to know, I got Jolter in and Merlin, I think, in one roll each, so...
Powerful.
I'm all about that pasta.
To answer that question, yes, I am actually of the opinion of being able to replay memorable fights, specifically. So, big bosses, interesting gimmicks. Because, like, I'm trying to think, like, they go all the way back to, like Camelot, I want to say. But we shall move on from that.
And I want to say, actually, before we move on really quick, it seems like Losengal is experimenting with that already, with, like, the Reminiscence quests with the Road to 7. Those are temporary, but do include normal and powered-up versions, so I would wonder if they are eventually going to do, like, a permanent version of that in, like, Story Archive or something. That might be interesting.
So, we move on. This next one comes from a master looking at his hoard of 400 Saint Courts and thinking, this won't be enough. This is correct. But I say, hey, Supreme King Lucky and Dark Master Omega, I have been reminded of how infuriating Monopoly was growing up by playing this event, so kudos to FGO for an accurate representation. With correct Castoria looming on the horizon, who do you plan on using her with? My Kiara is ready to vor everything soon, and it'll be beautiful to see, sending you the good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. And of course, space! P.S. Those were Yu-Gi-Oh references in the beginning, in case you were wondering. Now that full Cyberdark support has arrived at Master Duel, nothing can stop me now.
Incorrect. If you play Cyberdarks, lots of things can stop you, actually.
Well, I'll leave it to the Dark Master then. As for me, I do plan on picking up at least a Castoria, and most notably, I'm going to be pairing her with my Tamamo. And everything's going to be fucking peachy. Everything's going to be very blue. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got lots of arts. I'll figure it out. This is funny though. I mean, this is kind of a testament to the fact that fucking nothing happens for like 2 months in FGO. That like the only thing people can talk to us about is Castoria. But you know, guys, come on, it's still a ways away. You gotta get through the Vegas rerun. Won't that be funny? By the way, that actually probably because I do have an NP2 Summer Musashi, so I will be doing many loops. You can't stop me. Nothing can stop me. Yeah, OQ rerun.
OQ.
Oh, actually, that means CCC gonna get added to the main interlude. I can finally actually fight King Protea. Because I don't know why the fuck they put 9 fights before that. They were all long as shit. Hypothetically, both of those should come out before Anniversary.
It's like, listen, Lucky needs to like throw down for fucking MP5 comma. Do you know how much that's gonna fucking take? Ugh.
Especially considering we don't have the pity system yet.
No.
A lovely quality of life that was also introduced recently. Maybe Losenga will throw us a bone and give us that for the Anniversary.
Nah.
I don't actually know if that fucks with like their coding and system. Incorrect URX, red marker. Multi-support. Yeah, well.
Well, I'd rather have 1 copy than none. Like I said, my comma's only MP2, and I need 3 more. But let us move on. This next one comes from the Tyrant King debating whether or not I want a detective in my Chaldea. Question. Hey, AE86, Lucky, and FD3S Omega. After watching one of Money Gig's many Fate videos, I want to know when/how did you start Fate? For me, it kind of snowballed me with me watching a few clips of the adaptation of the Fate route into Zero, then watching the Dean animes. Thanks for answering my question. Sorry if it's been asked before. Take care and have a nice evening with good vibes. Wah 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 wah. Going your way. References initial D. We got a lot of people sending good vibes now. Do they like just sending good vibes, or do they just want me to hear me make wah wah noises?
Well, we'll have to find out later. Tell us.
I'm pretty sure we have actually answered this before. Like, I will say my initial foray into Fate is I did watch the Dean adaptation in 2006.
Yep.
Didn't really understand it, but I was like, hey, this is cool. But I won't say necessarily stuck in my head. And there was just something I watched, like same with Tsukihime. I was like, oh, this is a thing. Then Limited Blade Works came out and I was like, oh shit, this shit's cool. Then I got into FGO, and then I literally watched everything else.
Yeah, similar for me. I like before I watched the Dean adaptation, I had already heard of Fate Stay Night on the internet because I am one of those nerds and shit like Fate Stay Night. King Arthur fights Hercules. Like it's one of those ideas for a story that sticks with people. So I'd always been interested, and as a small tiny baby weeb, I always thought that I was doomed. Because it was a really, really long visual novel that was in Japan, and I wouldn't ever be able to play it because, back in the day, like, pirating giant PC games and getting patches was very complex and hard to do. But I did eventually find my way to the Dean adaptation and watch all of that, and since then I kind of, like, kept my eye in the franchise, looking out for stuff. Kept up with Zero, Unlimited Blade Works, etc., and similarly, I was reading the plot of FGO when it was coming out in Japan, and I was like, man, that's really cool. They finally did that, semi-multiplayer, online Fate thing they wanted to do. That'll never come to America. And then, 2 months later, after I discovered it and read everything, they were like, yeah, we're actually going to release this in English, and I'm like, and here we are now.
Here
4 years later.
Are. Surprise! But there you go.
5 years later. What is time?
So, with that, we shall move swiftly on. This next one comes from the man who wants to be Kirky's husband. Question! Hey, what's up, guys? I was wondering, how often do y'all actually play FGO? I used to play for hours a day, but now play for a few minutes. Some days just log in, even during events. Don't get turned into piggies and have blessed rolls. Well, thank you. Me, it honestly does depend on whether an event or something is happening.
Mm-hmm.
If events are not happening, I will probably just log in, maybe futz around a little bit, and leave. I probably won't even spend 20 minutes in the game. But when events are going on, I can and will just spend hours upon hours on a day. I'm actually playing right now. I'm reading the epilogue for the event. So yeah, I can put in effort, but again, like, I'm not someone who can just mindlessly go at a game. I need some sort of goal or something. This is why I have a lot of problem with other sort of gacha games when they don't have events running. It's like, just do the same old thing. I'm like, I don't want to do the same old thing. Like, I want to go do something new.
Roughly the same for me. When not an event is going on and there's not like a half AP or something to take care of, I will like usually log in for maybe 5 minutes at a time, get my login rewards, check on everything. Occasionally, like if there's a new set of interludes, like with the interlude event, assuming I'm caught up with the actual event, I will probably like check in for a day and just do all my undone interludes and then go on. During an event, I usually log in and try to play at least a couple hours every day. I was kind of busy over the weekend into this week of starting it, so I got a little behind on the event, and also it's very chunky and takes a while to get going. But I've still made sure to put in my time. The only reason why I am not playing right now in farming is because I spent all my AP, so I'm letting my phone charge up and my AP recover currently while we record the show. I'll probably go back to it while I do other stuff afterward.
With that, let us move on. This next one comes from a masked man spinning apples on dice and hands to roll them. No questions this week, just sending you both the good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. And hoping your dice rolls / drops are doing better than mine. I haven't actually done a lot of farming this week. I think I farmed like one of the first nodes. So I can just get the bronze mat, so I can get embers, so I can level Erice, and then maybe Voyager. I am leveling Voyager right now, by the way. He's just not max level.
I've done a decent farming in the free quest to get dice and stuff, and I've got all my CE copies out of the store.
I think I'm still missing one of them.
My dice rolls, I think, have been okay. I haven't gone to jail yet. That's apparently a problem people are having, so...
I mean, I think you need to go to jail, 3 times to get all the tokens out of it?
Well, you can land on Coliseum to get it manually. It's just, I know a lot of people are landing on the corners that send you straight there. Is it 5-6?
Yeah, I don't have that problem either.
Remember, Mario Party dice rules.
Mario Party!
Y'all didn't play a bajillion hours of Mario Party? Do you have not have calluses from spinning the joysticks?
No, maybe they just don't have friends.
When I was a kid, the kid next door had an N64. Clocked a lot of Mario Party hours.
Mario Party was, I want to say, the aughts version of Monopoly. Friendships will be ruined.
Yeah. And then they made digital Monopoly so you can, so your favorite content creators can create friendships together. And it's pretty hilarious. But you will never catch us dead playing Monopoly. I no. Lucky's great. I am not going to play Monopoly against him for content. This whole country will burn down. The fiber optic networks will be set on fire.
Actually, if
any social lying game, Lucky gets pissed when people lie to him.
Yeah. No, if you want to actually know, there is one competitive game that I can play without getting actually mad at people. It's Risk. Risk is
you should find it. It's so weird, but on the PS2, which was mine but got shared in this house, my father purchased a PS2 Risk game. Which had different music and stuff. I should dig up if I can find the soundtrack sometime. It had it had some Civilization style different people you could play as from different to represent the different continents. But we clocked a lot of hours into that, and I also don't think I ever got sassy at Risk because it's partially randomized.
Yeah,
but mostly tactical.
No, games where you actually have to talk and do that and negotiate and stuff, and people are gonna be animals. But that pisses me off. But for some odd reason, games like tactical games, Settlers of Catan, Risk,
So what you're saying is, despite it being my dream, we shouldn't play the Battlestar Galactica board game together.
We could. I have played it because
I've never gotten around to it. It's always seemed so fascinating.
Because I played that actually, and it's okay, and it's all right. But no, it is true. I don't like people lying to me, but. It's not just people lying to me, it's how they lie to me. There's lying to because you want to achieve an objective, and there's lying to be a fucking animal. It's like that game.
And we definitely have some players who, when they are taking a hidden role, will just say nothing to be sassy. And there's certainly jokes to be had with dramatic irony, but
yeah,
we have if you come here for Prague as well, which also please do. It was short, but we had a banger of an episode this week. Please go watch it. Mm-hmm. But we have a recurring joke about Dallas always lying because Dallas is both factually incorrect and also actively deceptive. About at the same even level as speaking the truth. He just says everything equally all at once. So that can get when we played more social deduction games, that kind of stuff, and with some of our other people in the the Goop Troop, Dallas absolutely lies like he breathes, because Dallas will say something about what he's doing, and then I'll be like, "Are you sure about that? What's going on here?" And then just like, Prog Club playing Monopoly, 0, absolutely 0. Unless I get 4 of them to do it, and I just show up to film it, and I get to sit back and laugh. No fucking way. This whole, we're faffing right now, but this whole faff is about the fact that Monopoly is like a travesty.
Oh yeah, no, like I'm with you there, Axe. I will just murder Robyn. No.
Robyn is definitely the kind of guy who will just to be sassy will say something wrong as part of the joke, whether he means it or not. But what I was going to say though was what game we should play is we should see if TTS has and I think it does because I think I got it downloaded, the Metal Gear Solid Risk, which I've also never played.
Oh, I totally play that.
Because that's Risk, but with nuclear weapons.
Was it? Actually, hang on, let me see here. Metal Gear Solid Risk. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, no, because like actually, like one of the few board games I have is actually Risk 2210, and I played that a lot, and I've lost like several games, and it's one of the few competitive games, like because basically everyone should know how Risk works. You get little plastic dudes, you put them on country, you invade and defend, and you build up and stuff. It's very fun. And I've won a few games, I've lost a few games, but every time you're like, no, win or lose, but everything's out on the board, so it's
an open information game.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's going on. Everything is about making the appropriate strategic decisions and also rolling dice good.
Yeah.
There's no hidden role to Risk. It's just figuring out what you're doing. Yeah, I've talked about this. I come from a board gaming family, but we didn't really get into everybody was kind of like growing out of that when the like Eurogame revolution with like Catan and stuff came into there. So I'm used to classics. Yes, we would play Monopoly, and I learned a lot about how to mulled less, but even as an adult, I've rediscovered that Monopoly still is designed to make you mulled, so it's not a great game. It's kind of deliberately not that way. But, the other stuff, big fan of Clue or Cluedo. Played some Risk. Pictionary can be funny, and I think that's where a lot of like internet drawing games come from. Played a lot of Uno in my time. Which Uno can also be a deeply frustrating game, but that's also just like some of that's just like how decks of cards work, which is why I've done some Uno streams in the past, because it's just like, oh, it's fine. I could bust it out right now, but I don't want to because unfortunately, Ubisoft charges you like $5 to get new game modes. No, swaps are absolutely healthy. What are you talking about? Swapping, stacking? I mean, Axe, if you like drew, you would just drew the deck out, you would just shuffle the replay pile back in. It's not that weird. This is just automated. It's rad. I love Uno. It's very funny. But like I said, we don't. The problem is if you play it too much for too long, it gets kind of boring, and you can get bogged down in long ass Uno games to make a stream work. But yeah, definitely, I should double check the status of the TTS, because I've played and even streamed some like fully cooperative games, which are okay. Like what was it? Is it Sentinels of the Multiverse? I did that with a couple of guys. Never got you in on that, Lucky. It was fun though. Supers. But we can debate this at a later time. We have a big backlog of games for streaming anyway.
The only thing that bugs me about... Wait a minute, is this a Metal Gear Solid Christmas sweater? Excuse me, hold the fuck on.
Ugly sweater was an autocomplete.
This is kind of amazing. I love this. Hang on, can I just copy the image?
Probably.
Hang on. I'd wear the fuck out of this.
Oh, fuck yeah, I would love to wear this.
What is it made out of? Eco-friendly. Oh, yeah, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna remember this for later. Anyway, let us move on. So, thank you very much for that. This next one comes from a masked man spending apples on dice and Wait, did I just say
that one?
I just did this one.
Yeah, we just did that one. That's the old one. We went on a tangent for like 10 minutes about Risk. It's fine.
Fine. Moving on. This actual next one, comes from Color for Co-op Corp Bard Addict. You ruined it. You just needed one more C. You should have said connoisseur. Color for Co-op Cardboard Connoisseur.
How did you... I guess it's the alliteration. You said that way better than the first time you tried it.
I'm good at alliteration. Hello, Lucky and Mega. Sorry I couldn't come up with a witty title for the two of you. Anyways, I got a small question based on my own circumstances. I've never been able to just grind out like 30 boxes in events or just create 600 plus of embers in under a day. like most others I've seen. So how did two of you just zone out or double down or grind out to clear an event, or am I just kind of barking up the wrong tree here? Have a good show, and I'll be seeing you this weekend. So you're kind of barking up the wrong tree. I don't ever fuss about getting big numbers.
Yeah,
like
I mean, this. If we skip the first half of the question, the second half of the question, how do you double down to clear an event, right? Like, we've had to do that before. And at one point, I think, of the two of us on the show, you have the most Mad Lad event clear in our history, where you, like, stayed up for 24 hours and beat the first run of the APOC rates. Like, you cleared the entire point ladder. But I want to check, like, this is a sample size thing. Do most others you've seen, like... I kind of want to ask our audience to weigh in on that. I kind of don't, because I don't want them to all say, yeah, I do. I could do 600 embers in a day. That would probably be a little damaging to my sand, but I don't feel like everybody is like that. I do know that it's usually more memorable when somebody is like, I have cleared 200 lotto boxes. And you're just like, what? So yeah, I don't know about the first part of that. But the second part for just like, how do you knuckle down and clear the event is, well, I do what I do with fucking everything. I multitask. When I want to get something done, I like 55 runs of an ember. I mean, I've probably done that some days, but not frequently. I don't usually have that many servants to level. One, it has to be the right circumstance. It has to be a limited event or like a half AP or something. Like I will never just dump on 40 APs unless I'm like leveling a servant I want to level. In which case there's external motivation. But when I knuckle down to just clear an event or grind out servants if I feel I need to, I multitask. I do other shit when I can. I will, watch TV. I will, watch really long Let's Plays or live streams, I'll jam to music, whatever it takes to, like, get my brain split up in enough ways that I can not feel like I'm bored just tapping the same buttons over and over again,
Yeah.
So that's how I do that second part. But yes, absolutely. Axe, you've noticed for years. What were you thinking barking up this tree?
And to be fair, if you get like on Ember Run specifically, if you get a good flowing go, I can do an Ember clear in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Embers at least. Hopefully, guys, if you haven't tried to get a 3-turn setup, try it sometime. I think you can make it work with most batteries and with a free support slot minimum, right?
Yeah.
Because you can usually find a high battery servant on support.
Yeah. So if I knuckle down on like Ember farming, yeah, I can do it. It's just I have to pay attention like very closely because it's all about hitting those button presses very quickly.
And that's really what the 3-turn setup is just optimizing yourself so you push the least buttons.
Yeah.
Like that's why I've still got a Rash in mine, and I have given him a Bond Grail so it's not lost bond points, because it's just like, no, I like giving a Rash like imaginary element and just one tap. A Rash battery, a Rash NP. First wave done. Like, I know you can Chen Gong, but that requires extra button presses because I have to like do buffs before that, then blow up Waver, and I'm just like, nah, smooth brand.
Yeah, and like, again, another thing that people do is they use the bot script, Fate Grand Automata. I haven't actually used it myself because I haven't been thinking about it. And also, I am slightly nettled about FGO's insistence of only, one account on a device. Instead of, like, every other game I play, it's all like, oh yeah, you can just put your account on whatever. It's fine. So, I know that's something that some people do. Basically, they just set it up so it's,
Yeah, you have to, I believe I remember when somebody talked about when it was, like, first popularized. You have to tell it what buttons in what order to press.
Yeah.
But you can still program it to do your button presses for you. You just need to know what your order is.
Yeah.
Which is good.
That's good. So, no, that'd be great for, like, Ember farming, for, like, no brain farm clears. Stuff like that. But, yeah. And for me, personally, it's like, sometimes when I need to do an event, I just need to sit down and fucking do it. Like, that's all you can do. Like, if you want something, you work for it.
Yeah, and I will say, this may sound weird to some people, but the fact that we do this show, and I feel like I want to bring you, the audience, a good show with fresh content, that means sometimes I can sit down and I can treat FGO like work, which is not, you shouldn't always be treating FGO like work, but the fact that I can be like, no, I am required to do the thing that I do to, like, support myself and engage with the audience and stuff that you like and all that other, baggage, because I can tell myself, all right, I got to do some FGO, I can be like, no, let's actually get in there and do it. It's all about the right. You got to turn that mindset into a grind set, brother. You don't actually have to, but all it takes is just change your perspective a little, get a little of your energy going, and like I said, multitask.
Oh, multi.
Watch TV, listen to music. I'll talk about the book more in detail, but I did actually read all of Legends and Lattes in one single evening. Not that hard, it's only 300 pages, but I wasn't sure I was going to commit to that, but I did my favorite mind hack for this. When I read, I usually like to put on music, usually Kingdom Hearts music, because that always puts me in a chipper mood. But then once you're in a relaxed mood, it was just like, all right, I can keep reading. I don't care what time it is, we can keep going. Same for FGO, just put yourself in the right time frame and mind frame, and you can accomplish anything.
Excuse me, I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna sneeze or not. I don't know. Oh,
I hate that one.
Ah!
Sneezes are painful, but it's much better when you know you're gonna sneeze.
Yeah, okay, I don't think it's gonna happen.
All right, he's lost it.
I lost it. So, with that, let us move onwards.
Yep.
And the next one, let me make sure I got the right one here. Next one comes from Bunny Girl versus a young unmanned space probe. Hey, Lucky and Omega, no questions this week. Just want to wish you good luck on your rolls and remind you to do your Tales in Final Fantasy XIV. I would.
Joke's on you. I don't play 14.
I do. And the problem with Tales now is with the new expansion, it is a lot harder to do Tales solo. Now I need a party and people to play with me, and I've been realizing lately that's a lot harder for me to do. People have shit to do, or they're too busy to play with me, because they got other plans. It makes me cry slightly sometimes. Ooh. Not this week, though. This week, Lucky has just been in a depressed funk and been laying on the floor thinking about, puppies. I was going to say something else that started with a P, but...
Skipped it.
Skipped it.
I mean, it's funny I make that joke about that. I have always been, tempted to try 14. I would probably not want to do it on my PC, because I still need to get parts for it. That would be even more expensive. But you can play... there's a level cap. You can play so much of the game free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wondered if, and admittedly, maybe this is just the weird content creator bug, I've always wondered if, would that be interesting if I just, download it on my PS5 and start playing and see what happens? I've always wondered about that, but I'm also, I'm slightly concerned that, it'll be the one MMO I actually like, and then I'll be like, well, shit, now I'm on the hook for the whole thing. Because I do not necessarily need more time sinks in my life. But it's something I think about. And right now I'm in an MMO thinking mood because of stuff I'll talk about on What's Up. Probably. Unless I decide we need more time in this episode. Then I'll talk about it now, just because, I don't know. I kind of like the episode to hit, 2 hours. I don't know if we're going to do that right now. We've crossed about an hour raw. We don't have a lot of mailbag left. So I made it to engage some extra faff time. People are posting a lot of puppies in our Discord chat, by the way. The avalanche of, I think that's corgi pups, is adorable.
Is it? It is an avalanche. That's the best. Anyway, shall move on. This next one comes from a master stuck in Coliseum space. This next one, they say, excuse me. Dear Heart of the Cards Omega and Wild +4 Lucky. No questions this week. Just wishing you well and sending you good vibes. Wah 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 wah.
Lucky is a wild +4.
I am. But in response to you, no. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing better than me.
I don't know if they're doing well. They're talking about being stuck in the Coliseum space, in the jail.
Oh, you just gotta roll better.
Yeah, roll better, dude. Literal skill issue?
So, we move on. This next one comes from Stargazer that wants to say hi to the old one. Are we talking one of the goos or your old self? I'm not entirely sure.
You need capital letters.
Hey, Lucky Omega. Hope that you're well, especially Lucky. I am surviving. Not well. I have missed this entire week of work. I have not showered in a week. I've barely been eaten. There has been no sleep. I'm living off of energy drinks. But hey, I got Amazing Cultivation Simulator. I guess that's great. Yay.
Does it spark joy?
A little bit. It's a RimWorld style kind of game. But instead of, future space and shit, you do Chinese, I can never remember how it's actually pronounced, but it's something like that, I think.
Dallas is not here. I can't answer that question to you. Everybody knows I have a horrible track record with...
Oh, wait, no, I spelled it wrong. There's an I. There's another I after the X. The second X. But basically, it's just Chinese fantasy. Wuxia is just Chinese martial arts.
Yeah.
So,
What would that be?
I mean, so it's
Xianxia?
fun. Shansha? I think so.
People at home, comments. There's 2 X's in this word. I have no idea what they're supposed to represent anymore. All I know is it's not Keyblade.
Yeah, but people get to fly on swords.
That's cool.
And that's cool. But, yeah. No. If you guys are doing better than that, what I just listed, a couple minutes ago, you're doing great. I really need to go take a shower, but I'm just like, I almost considered asking Omega just to fucking skip it this week so I can just continue laying on the floor, but I was like, nay. I'll get up.
No, you gotta work. You gotta get that bread, that paper.
Gotta get that bread, that paper.
Cabbage? That's an actual bit from a DoorDash ad, by the way, which they send me, where they want me to do DoorDash deliveries. Also, not a good idea, DoorDash. Don't own a car. What am I gonna do, hoof it? Anyway,
they go on to finish here. My question to you, are you ready to punch the clown?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're talking about Doman.
I believe that is usually the reference. And, yeah, sure, I'll be ready to punch him in 6 months.
I'm gonna slap the ever-living fuck out of him.
7 months, actually, honestly. TBH. But yeah, no, it'll be great.
It is gonna be great.
Gonna get me a Kentoki costume?
Maybe I'll finally get me a Kentoki. God. Like, I keep trying for Moriarty and Kentoki, and they just refuse to show up, and it's making me slightly upset.
I can't say anything about the Kentoki. That was an absolute, wrong luck desire sensor case. I got both of the limited SSRs on that banner before I got the SR I was looking for. Once again, they think it don't be like that, but sometimes they do. Hey, everybody remember how I got like 5 care keys, maybe 6 care keys, and no Odysseus? Luckily there'll be a ticket for Odysseus.
Excuse me.
Careful, don't die yet.
Slowly dying. All
Drink
right.
more of your energy drink. I'm sure that will help.
Sure.
I probably shouldn't make that joke, but it's the first thing that jumped to my head. Okay. Last one.
Last one off. Missed the trash can.
Missed.
Anyway, this last one comes from Agent 418 who says, hello, Lucky and Omega. Have a great weekend. You too, buddy. All right, we're done.
All right, that's mailbag. Okay. We've been going for about 1:10, so... there's editing involved, but I'd like to... I mean, it doesn't have to hit like 2 hours. I don't think we can make it stretch out too long. We shouldn't dead air, but got some more juice in there, so we'll have to add a little extra pizzazz in here.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some pizzazz pre-planned, though. I talked about this last week, so let's, keep doing the content juggle. Should have probably done so you didn't get that 5-star, but I was, a little sag. I am less sag now, for the moment anyway. Maybe I'll be sag in the future when the lack of Saint Quartz catches up to me. When those 60 Saint Quartz, matter when I go to buy more money. Anyway, so you didn't get that 5-star. We should talk about Dino Wife, Kiyo Koyo. Who, interestingly enough, I have heard always, anyway, maybe somebody can correct me on this, but I've always heard she was not actually super popular in the JP when she came out. Perhaps the audience were bamboozled by the fact that she is a dinosaur first. Which I think the event does a good job of introducing her not as a dinosaur first, and then is like, oh my god, is that a T-Rex? But anyway, Kiyo Koyo, you do not pronounce the J apparently, I checked, and it's 2 long O's, so Koyo. Is an SR Berserker who exists in that weird zone of low attack, high HP, with slightly more attack than Cat, and slightly less HP than Tomo Cat. Not an unheard of niche, but definitely not the most popular niche for Berserkers. Like a lot of Berserkers, she has a Gorilla deck, Arts, Quick, Buster, in case you don't know. Decently rounded hit counts, 3 in all areas, and I think a 5 hit extra, so pretty high NP gainer as a result, 0.85. Her NP gives herself burn for 3 turns, which doesn't stack, by the way, should you, God forbid, loop, which is not that weird anymore. And gives herself an attack up first based on overcharge, starts at 20%, maxes at 40% for 3 turns, and is a single target buster. Pretty straightforward. You click the red cards, the enemy go die.
Oh, excuse me.
Her first skill is a morph variant, very common with these characters in FGO, and Fate in general. So, Morph Dinosaur gives her 20 to 30% defense up for 3 turns and increases her star rate for 1 turn. Pretty good for Berserkers. They usually have abysmal star weight on their own, so this gives her more absorption, and who says no to 30% defense up? Second skill gives her 20 to 30% buster and quick up for 3 turns. I don't know why it's a hybrid with quick, but okay. She has 1 quick card, I guess. And And it also gives a targeted ally overcharge 1 time over 3 turns. So that's a fairly unique niche. There's only so many servants that give you an overcharge level, and this one's, pretty casual. It's a targetable 1 for 3. So, decent. Her final skill is a 1 to 2k team heal, and removes 1 debuff from the team, and also gives them instant death immunity for 3 whole turns. Just straight up, no instant death, 3 turns. Passives are Madness Enhancement A and MRC. So, yeah, Kiyo Koyo is very straightforward. She occupies a turtling niche, which is unusual for Berserkers, but not unheard of. We talked about Cat. Cat has some very interesting, self-regen and stall strats. Nightingale, obviously, is very well known for her quote-unquote defensive abilities. So, Kiyo kind of falls into that aspect. And I will say, 30% defense up is nothing to sneeze at, and her third skill does have some interesting support use. The fact that it is just an automatic 3 turns of instant death immunity can certainly be useful for certain challenge quests and the like, or certain bosses. So that can be fairly good. And she has a decently hard-hitting NP since it is single target, and she does have, some of the higher madness enhancement. She's got 2 attack steroids. It'll slap pretty good. It also is 10 hits, which can be useful for some critical interactions. That means it has a decent star generation on it. And that's pretty good, though I will say she doesn't intrinsically do critical plus. She does have the star absorb on it. I presume that's also why she has a quick up, so you can throw a quick card in there to get her more stars. I would say she probably needs a buff to stand out a little bit more, but she's perfectly serviceable as a single target berserker with a little bit of longevity. And certainly the fact that she gives you widespread insta-kill immunity and the targetable ally overcharge buff are fairly modern in terms of support, right? It's not your everyday support buffs. So definitely has a place. I don't think she did a lot to stand out super strong in terms of her actual kit. It's mostly in the fact that, I don't know, her first ascension is a fucking dinosaur. And then her later ascensions are hot dino wife. But yeah, it's interesting. And now I will completely ad-lib, because I wasn't planning on doing this because, like I said, I don't have my permanent Erice yet. I think Lucky earned his just now while playing if he's moved on to the epilogue.
Yes.
So I was going to save Welfare Corner, but there's no reason to hold anything. We need the show to go on longer. So I will run through that pretty quick. Normally I pre-write these a little bit, so I'm going to be a little off the cuff, but I don't think it matters. A decent number of you have your Erice anyway, so we can talk a little bit about how she plays. She is a new Welfare Lancer, a not necessarily underrepresented niche. We've just had a rerun for one of those, and we've got another new one coming with Summer. It's probably because the first Welfare Lancer was kind of weird. I don't want to say Alter Santa Lily was bad, but she definitely has kind of an oddball kit placement. But, free NP5. So, in terms of her stat spread, let me just scroll through my list. Funnily enough, yes. Well, actually, I should say this. There's a few below her. Erice is kind of in the middle tier for attack. And let's see where that changes in max HP. Yeah, still pretty mid. So, kind of not the best, not the worst in both aspects. Fairly average. She has a quick arts buster deck. She has pretty decent hit counts. So her NP charge per attack is actually okay. Sometimes you don't see that with these, arts-based welfares, but it's 0.63. She's got 3 hits arts cards and 4 hit quick cards and a 5 hit extra, so decent NP game. I don't think I've had any problem with her generating NP during the event, so, seems alright. Her NP is an Arts AoE. It deals damage to all enemies. It removes their defensive buff and has a chance to inflict instant death on them. Starts at 30%, maxes out at 80% with 500%, which, of course, isn't actually 80%. There's a whole second math that goes in there. It's fairly straightforward, but definitely usable. It's an AoE. She's a free NP5, assuming you're doing the event correctly. The instant death chance is kind of like a cherry on top, and obviously she has some plot-related reasons to do that, so there's some interaction on that later. But removes their defensive buffs is pretty decent on a welfare, and it's AoE, so certainly it has a place. Not the craziest NP, but it'll work. So her first skill gives her an arts buff for 3 turns, 20-30%. It also gives her an evade 2 times 3 turns. I sometimes forget that this is an evade because it uses the arts icon, but it is. I will say this shows kind of how the the game design evolved over a while, where there were servants who had their NP steroid and their defense move on the same skill. This has definitely gotten into the better version of that, where it's 2 times 3 turns. Not only is that pretty good, but also it allows you to pop her arts buff and not worry about your wasting your evade. And her arts buff is also 3 turns, so it's not like you're, wasting it if you need it for the defensive ability. Her second skill is the free shooter imitation. Gives her sure hit for 1 turn and increases her star gather up. It is also a 4-turn cooldown at maximum, which is pretty good. I don't know if she's necessarily a really good critical servant. Yeah, her self crit up only goes to 30%, but it gives her something else to do besides just art spam. And sure hit every 4 turns is pretty good.
Solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. I will say it's a little redundant with her NP, because her NP also strips defensive buffs. I think what, at the time, Delightworks was going for was you use this on a non-NP turn when you're critting, possibly so you can go to an NP because it's useful, but remove their defensive buffs doesn't happen first, so you can still use this and actually get your hit in, and then you're like, haha, but my follow-up can still hit you. You don't get to run away. Third skill, Grim Reaper. Yeah, we're going to get into talking about how Erice is a tryhard soon. But Reaper increases your instant death chance for 3 turns, 50 to 100%, so again, the numbers on her NP aren't her actual numbers. This does give her critical up for 3 turns, 20 to 30%. It also gives her special damage bonus to servants for 3 turns, 20 to 30%. That's a pretty decent niche. A lot of bosses in this game who are a pain in the butt are servants. It's only 30%, but still gives her yet another damage niche. Lets her punch up a little bit against bosses when you would probably normally be using her to, clear waves. That's okay. The critical strength is all right. The instant death is kind of a gimmick, but again, this isn't like a lot of other early skills, which were just like, hell, didn't Nito at one point have her third skill be just the instant death up?
I believe so.
Yeah, they buffed that with a rank up or interlude or something. So, I don't want to say her kit is astounding, but they definitely have learned a lot of lessons from the past in terms of character design to make it more fulfilled. She has a bevy of passives. She has her magic resistance spirit, B+, so she has 10% debuff resist, and gets a further debuff resist against undeads for, 20%. It's pretty good. That means that she is less likely to be stunned by ghosts. Great. She does have Writing C, which is also pretty good because she has 2 quick cards, Independent Action B for a little bit of Inerrant Crick, and a tiny little baby Divinity E for plus 100 damage. So, overall, Erice, I will say, seems pretty standard for a lot of collab characters. She falls into the niche of still living servants. I talked about that in the Voyager Wanted. Go watch it if you haven't. But she is one of those collab characters who is technically an alive human at the time of her story and just gets slurped into our world because shenanigans. Like Chloe, technically, Miyu and Ilya on that banner, Shiki, stuff like that. Also, by the way, a lot of those characters seem to be arts for some reason, not sure. Now, is Erice as, dummy broken as, Chloe or Shiki, who have always been phenomenal units, some of the best recommended welfares, because they are free NP5s with good arts cards and, very strong potential, especially now that arts is relevant in the meta? Probably not, but I think she does enough to, matter, and she certainly has some differences to other characters. I think the main point of comparison here would be Kagetora, who just got a rerun. They're not quite the same. Kagetora is AABB, and I will say her arts up, for instance, is the same value. It's 20 to 30, but it's only 1 turn. The main thing that she has extended is her, glory gained on foot, but that's a team-wide skill, so you can use your welfares together. I think the main thing is you should consider Kagetora and Erice different niches, right? Kagetora is single target. Erice is AoE. I know it's a little weird considering, how you might, one of them is a military commander and the other one is supposed to punch servants. So it's a little funny they did it those ways. But I think the 2 units can complement each other. You are not necessarily competing. And the upcoming Summer Paisen, Yume Ren Lancer, is also in a decently different niche. Though I will say for future reference, they did something different with her NP gain. She has the same deck as Erice, but has less hit counts, so her NP gain is even stupid higher. But she's got a single target quick, so it's like different character designs. Instant death is still a gimmick. That is kind of a minus that's one of the things she does, but remove all defensive buffs is still pretty good. That's very strong in certain challenge quests. So overall, design-wise, I think they did okay. I don't think they necessarily went to the 9s with her gimmicks, but they did enough to like learn game design lessons, so I won't say she's bad. She does require a fuck ton of stakes, so, I mean, I don't know why you would do that to me, the Lightworks. Now Lasengle, but hey, here we are. Seriously, I'm looking at her skill reinforcement. 9th level is 45 stakes, 20 stand arrows. What the fuck?
Jesus.
Those stand arrows aren't easy to get, you know? You have to kill guys with weird time powers. Which part of JoJo am I referencing? It could be one or another. Could it be a third one? Who knows? Anyway, this isn't our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast. Or is it? No, it's not. But yeah, overall, I think Erice is at okay welfare if you don't have a lot going on in the AoE Lancer department. Arts Lancers do kind of like get boofed, but I would say up until now, her primary competition is Finn McCool, who, as you know, sucked for a long time and could probably still use a 4th buff because, you know, he still has a skill that's unbuffed. I mean, I guess his Magecraft B is 40% arts up for one turn, but still, the poor lad. What you mean if they like checked for they removed buffs, you know, defensive buffs first and then checked for instant death? Yeah, the priority of effects in FGO is weird sometimes. I know they go out of their way, like you know, that was a very strong niche for Amakusa and his only use for a long time because when Amakusa came out, he was bad. But he stripped buffs first, very powerful. If they did the remove buffs and then check for instant death, you know, that could be useful. But as is, instant death check first, I guess. I think it's because I guess they're like they have to check for instant death first because then they're running damage calc for no reason. I believe that is how most instant death servants work. For instance, Charlotte. It's always been a weird niche, though. I don't think it's. Would you say it's safe to say, Lucky, that instant death isn't as much of a. It's a gimmick, but it's not a joke anymore, right? Like
it's definitely a gimmick. Yeah. Like I said, they've done a lot they've put in a lot of servants, you know, that involve, you know, death increase, death resistance, or death increase.
Yeah.
It's still a astronomically low chance, especially on anything not a mob, but like if you do it on like a mob, there's a fair chance you'll see it.
And I mean, her Erice is an AoE servant. You will probably most likely just be like, well, at free NP5, I'm gonna go, you know, grind farming.
Like I said, I've been using her NP1, and I've seen their you get that instant death chance like proc on 2 out of 3 mobs before. I think it's pretty neat.
It's pretty decent. When the game first launched, instant death was absolutely a joke because like almost all the story bosses dodged it anyway, and the chances were awful, and there was like no support. So we're in a better place. It's a little bit like DOT right now, like Dot. There are some very funny Dot strats you can do. You can actually get some very high damage numbers out of like certain combos with like excuse me, sorry, a little burpee. Dantes, Shuten, or Yang, for instance. Yang, like she can absolutely do some stupid large burn numbers, but you need like a lot of skill levels and setup to do that. Mm-hmm. So it's not perfect, but it's all right. Let's talk about some things with Erice that people might object to. Let's actually move into some further Requiem thoughts. Yeah, we crossed about an hour and a half with that. I don't know if we'll talk for 30 minutes about Requiem, but we can try. It would be commiserate with the design of the event if we took a long time to talk about it. So
yeah, probably.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you a question, so I'll just phrase it really quick. Lucky, you didn't really get into the second game of Werewolf by the time we did last show. You are now ahead of me, so you know the how the turns have tabled. But I kind of want to ask you on some input there because I feel like my thoughts about Werewolf being kind of weirdly paced stayed true to the end of the game. I want to know what you thought about it.
I don't know if I'll necessarily call it weirdly paced, but I do want to kind of say I felt like I was out of my depth not because I couldn't understand what was going on. It's just because the choices that you made as the master is not what choices I would have made as a player.
Yeah.
Like for example, like, this is the big one. Why the fuck did I go along with Mozart saying, all right, use your power on them? Like, if there's only one seer, and there's two, like, well, I don't know if there's one seer, but if there's a person saying that they're the seer, and you're a seer, wouldn't the smartest thing be like, I'm gonna check that guy who's talking shit, you know, who's causing all this chaos? Why the fuck do I go around and have to, like, prove myself to other players when the guy who's acting most sus, I don't check him?
Yeah,
like,
no. And, like, it's funny to me, as a guy who's put a decent amount of time into Werewolf, and watching other people play Werewolf, yeah, you as the master, despite the fact that you've got 3 brains, you play Werewolf absolutely atrociously. Why do we get suckered into Mozart's game? Because, like, there's no Tanner role, so there's nobody who's trying to die, other than, I guess, technically the Fanatic. But that's the thing. When somebody acts sus, when they draw a shitload of aggro to themselves, and you know for a fact that they're not the role they claim to be, because that's you, that person is on the fucking Werewolf team. I mean, they're not the Tanner, because that wasn't in one of the roles. I believe they explained what we were playing with. It was, we had 2 lovers, 2 werewolves, 1 fanatic, 1 seer.
Yeah.
And 1 knight, who could, you know, protect somebody at night from being attacked. Which was very funny, because it was Emiya Alter, who has been great in this event, by the way. But
can't get away from being an Emiya.
I feel like most people who have read the werewolf part of the story have agreed with you, Lucky, that the master makes weird choices that don't make sense. Why do we follow along with the rules with everybody? Why do we go through all this trouble? Why don't we just search Mozart and be like, hey, y'all, that motherfucker's the Fanatic. Like, he is lying to you. I am the seer. Like, maybe the first time, but then the second time, you know, you'd be like, oh, yeah, no, we all knew that guy was not a problem. That motherfucker's the Fanatic. He's trying to draw aggro away from werewolves. And shocking nobody that also, I knew this immediately, that Mary was the last werewolf. Like, maybe not the whole overarching plot with.
Well, actually, my thing is I thought, when I was looking at it, I thought Marie was the werewolf and that Mozart was the Fanatic.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Which is weird, because the Fanatic literally never comes up. I'm all like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, like, I was pretty sure that Mozart was the Fanatic as well, because he is, like, he is drawing aggro. He is being obvious. That is a thing you do.
Well, yeah, and, like, that's Axe playing something, like, that's the other thing is, Marie was acting sus as fuck as well.
Yeah.
Like, this didn't
it's
click.
It's painfully obvious that she's doing something.
Like, it didn't, like, click until you actually start climbing up the mountain. I'll get to that. But Marie, Marie, I won't say necessarily gets a lot of screen time, but, like, she has a very strong personality in a certain way. She is she is never negative, never says anything bad about anything, and almost has a devil-may-care attitude about a lot of life. She never is, like, concerned about the small details. She's like, oh, something bad's happening? Well, that's life. Vive la France. Time for bread.
Big Vive la France energy. And it's been a long-ass time, but we did spend a decent amount of time with Mary in Orleans, right?
Right.
I feel like most people should have a decent grasp on her character. So you can tell right away, this Little Red Riding Hood Mary is like, there's something off about her. It's not just that dead-eye stare she gives Voyager. Shout out to the Sprite team, by the way. I would still love this costume on Mary. I know it's her CE, but it's still rad.
Well, actually, honestly, like, man, like, again, what's up, like, fucking spoilers.
Yeah.
It's not actually Marie. It's Dark Marie.
Yeah.
It's
She calls it her own personal dragon witch. Great throwback.
I mean, that's where everyone met.
Yeah.
So no, like, fuck it, no. Dark Marie, Avenger win.
Yeah,
Just
no.
kidding.
I mean, people. It was hard to avoid these story sprites because everybody was like, "Oh my god, this sprite is the best." So it's been a couple of years, still hasn't happened, but yeah, Zam. And even though it kind of in the story in that game, it's mentioned that she doesn't think of herself as literally like Altered Mary or Dark Mary. You know, she's more of a like an evil spirit in the now. Mm-hmm. Marie's still like, nah, that could be me. I could be mad like that.
Well, actually, no. Like, it's actually even further callback because this was back during Marie's first interlude where she talks about where you fight fucking Rose Pierre, the fucking ghost that had, like, God, how much HP did he have? I don't remember. It was a stupid
9
amount.
billion. No, but it was a fucking lot. I think he had like 9 digits. Or
Yeah, like 9 digits or something.
Yeah, it was
But
a lot.
Marie talks about there could be a version of her that is like that. And I think that's where, like, I started talking about, Marie Avenger, like, with, like, maybe, like, the decapitated headlines and stuff.
Well, and that is a plot point in Orleans as well, where she, like, John is having a existential crisis about Jalter, and then Marie's like, no, Saint Lady, you don't understand. You are, like, the archetype of a martyr. There's no way there's, like, this weird bad bitch inside you. Me, there's probably, if it was me, I'd probably be like, yeah, that girl me, which is what Mary does when she shows up in the event. She's like, oh, other me, you're so sassy. I'm going to have to thrash you now. Vive la France. Which, once again, reminds everybody, like, right, yes, Mary, beautiful cinnamon roll.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that sprite work is very stand out and very interesting. And unfortunately, she turns into a giant ghost, so fuck us, I guess.
What is it with giant ghosts? It's always a fucking giant ghost.
I guess I think it's supposed to kind of make sense because, heroic spirits are spirits. So, like, it's an interesting, or it was anyway, interesting kind of like boss, like, they, their form is loose. They become a giant spooky ghost. Now it's like a literal meme. So I think they just do it just for the laughs. But yeah, it's always a giant ghost. But yeah, no, the werewolf segment I feel like with people is kind of unpopular. It goes back to some of FGO's most boring game design. I won't say worst per se, but it's most boring game design of every fucking night after you read all the day's events, you have to do 2 fights with ghosts because the plot. I guess it does kind of set up some things, and there's that very weird encounter where you just run into Phantom in the ghost zone, which is, like, important for the plot, but I still feel like they could have paced that out better. And then after that, when you go to the quote-unquote third game, which isn't the third game, because I think we were right. It strongly seemed like it was hinted that it was Catan, but Erice blew it the fuck up. So you don't actually get to play that game. What do you get to do instead? You get to jog through space, you get, 5 minutes of dialogue, and then you fight random ghosts. I don't know why it was paced out like this. I'm wondering how much of it was a rush in the editing room because they were already behind schedule due to, like, COVID and working remote and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they just kind of... I don't know if it was assets, because I think they've got all the assets. I don't know if it was just like, shit, we don't have time to, like, edit all the together dialogue or, like, design interesting fights mechanically. We just need to get this out there. Let's just keep reusing the ghost thing. I don't know. Because remember, this event was delayed a couple of weeks past Golden Week, and is, like, the only time FGO has ever officially, anyway, delayed an event, as far as I know. Because that was when Backstreet Boys went on reunion tour and everybody had to go to remote working. So the event is kind of a slog in spots. Some spots go by very fast, but there are so many... Why are the games so long? There's so many pips, right?
Right.
I think it's so that they can slowly build, like, Voyager's story, and I kind of think I get what they're going for with Erice. When you meet her, I would like to remind everybody, Erice is like 14, okay? She is 15, in her actually. Literal... Oh, she's 15? Okay. I've heard it.
Yeah, actually, this is something that actually that actually caught my attention. When you do her temp summoning, she says her name and then she goes Juyonsai. That means she's 15 years old. They don't actually say that in the translation, though. So I was like, why'd you skip that?
Interesting. Probably because calling attention to her age in America would be weird.
Probably. I can see that.
But it's still important. Okay, so even so, if she's 15, that is absolutely peak, Chuniboyu phase, middle school syndrome. That's like, or, going on to first year in high school shit. Like, she's a tryhard, okay? She's a kid. So it makes sense that she's, like, really weird to you and, like, tries to be all, high energy, like, I'm the Grim Reaper. You'll never defeat me. And I'm just like, you as the master, you just want to, like, pat her on the head and go, oh, honey, you don't know.
What was it, Clink's fucking thing? Erice is calling herself the Grim Reaper, and you just have Graham standing behind you, and you're just like, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes.
Sure. Or like, you can't possibly defeat me. You just look at the piles of impossible things we've beat up, some of whom are our friends, just be like, I mean, I wouldn't want to show a 15-year-old girl, Kiara, but, you could, as an example. It's like, oh, you think you're hot shit, huh? I beat this chick up. And then you show her Kama and this chick. I don't yet have my, my Tiamat. That hasn't come to me yet, but I'm sure that'll show up eventually. Have you met Abigail? She's plugged into Yog Sothoth.
Meet BB.
Yeah, here's BB. Here's Summer BB. Somehow she's worse. And Erice is just like, I didn't think she could get worse. Well, that's where you're wrong. It always gets worse, kid. So, yeah, it's like...
Like, honestly, like, this I think from my original...
That's a good Sprite comic. Is that the actual Grim Reaper? I'm gonna go with yes. I mean, technically, we suspect he's the angel. Gramps is the angel of death, but close enough.
But that's like the thing that I think that bothers me about Erice is, like, when you meet, she's just all like, "Oh, you're just controlling your fucking servants." I'm just all like, "Excuse you, how very dare." Like, you're treating them as tools. I'm like, no, they drag me around everywhere. Do you know how many fucking fucked up dreams I have now?
Well, and I think it makes sense in the context because Erice has only ever seen your servants in the context of Monde de Jeu, the game world, where they are literally mind-hacked, and it's really creepy, often.
It is. I don't like it.
So, like, I get where she's coming from. It's just, unfortunately, she's being, a kind of a brat, as we say on the internet these days, and it makes her really annoying for, like, half the event, until you get to Ordat. I know some people struggle with that. I mean, I'll admit, I spent command seals, but I did get my 3-0. Not the first one, that was my mistake. I forgot to give myself a guts or some hard defense on Penth. 1 NP was not enough to beat Achilles. But for the rest, I just planned accordingly, and it was fine. 3-0'd. Easy. GG easy, as we would say.
I don't want to agree with that. I didn't plan accordingly perfectly because, I think you just probably got better RNG and stuff.
Well,
like,
yeah, I think with the second fight, that's Jason Adelante, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got very good RNG. I would have died if Adelante crit, and I didn't, so there's definitely some RNG to it, but you can apply a little bit of prep time with your command codes. It's not perfect.
Like I said, I didn't use my command codes. Maybe I should have. So I had to actually go on for a bit. I was actually able to win, but again, this is one of those other things of like, why the fuck are we setting up these fights these way? Especially with every fight, it's always 2 against 1.
Yeah, usually, Erice, why are you cheating?
Yeah, why is I don't actually have any sort of advantage? Like, why am I using a bronze assassin against a saber and an archer? And one who has a specific thing where you can't target him until you take out the archer. I'm like, this is very specific.
Well,
and I don't like it.
You can't target him because
well, he has invincible.
Yeah, but Charlotte has Invul Pierce. It's one of her skills. I know. But the idea is you beat up Adelante until you charge NP, and then you're just like, Jason, die. It's a weird one. It's like a tiny baby challenge quest thing, and it's a little weird. I think the joke there was about the Argonauts, and that's why we picked Charlotte. I don't know. Also, I got to say this: there's a decent amount of story content to this. A lot of it blurs together to me because there's so many gaps with fights in them. Like, there's a lot of little stuff. Like I said, that middle section for Game 3 where we don't actually play a game, we just run on space rails.
Nice.
You do get a decent amount to talk to Voyager, and he talks about Erice a little, but we get to know him pretty good. There's some good dialogue with Emiya we talked about. That's nice and all. The details to me are really blurred together because for some ungodly reason we kept interrupting these conversations to punch ghosts. It's, like I said, I don't want to say this event is really bad. There are some weird design choices with the way the story is written and paced, and then where the fights are put, and it can be quite time consuming. I got lucky and I was able to get string the 3-0 together. Not everybody's going to do that. I know some people who have actually been beaten 3 times in a row or lost 5 total. Yeah, and hey, that's FGO, random dirtbag crits. So it can be rough. Yeah, Super Ryan can absolutely punch ghosts. So yeah, it's a little weird. What's also weird is the bonus servant list is so limited. There were so many times, because you don't unlock Erice temporarily until halfway through Game 5, which is allegedly the last game. It's not actually the last game, but it's supposed to be the last game. But there are fights with archers before that. There are no support lancers. There are fights against lancers, including boss fights with Erice. There are literally no bonus sabers. I have just been giving my own level 100 Mordred, the damage C, and just be like, let her rip. it works pretty good, honestly. But, it's still, not everybody's going to have that great setup. That's, level 100, grilled servants are bullshit. Life hacks. So, all in all, it's kind of weirdly paced. I do at least appreciate that after we actually, thresh her soundly, Erice kind of, gets over herself a little bit. She's kind of, upset and stuff, but then you're just nah, you could give her the you were being rescued kind of speech. Stop resisting. Just be like, all right, Erice, you're coming with us. And she's just like, what? I'm like, haha, you can't stop me. I have a giant lion man on my team. So, I think Erice has a chance to, grow on you, but they did the fate thing where they went out of their way to make her rub you the wrong way, and she's the welfare. She's the reason why you want to complete the story. I can't imagine, if some people just met her and this is the free unit? What the fuck? It's a weird sell. Honestly, actually farming free quests, not too difficult. The one node that's all archers is a little beefy, but, damage CE, a Erice bonus. It's okay, it's workable. And I Coldopoly, for instance, right? That's another thing, and I want to ask your opinion on this too, obviously. That's another thing that feels kind of weird to me, because, the little interludes are kind of cute and fun, but why do you have to land on every space, 5 times?
I don't know.
It's really drawn out. It's a neat concept. I assume they had to make it, such a bulk of the event was because of, time crunch, and they were kind of spread out. You do get dice drops on story, or you get currency drops you can turn into dice, so maybe. You should normally farm free quests if you need dice. I believe the currently furthest available node has decent drops, but all of them should drop you a die or two so you can get started. But yeah, overall the event's kind of paced weird. Any other thoughts to that effect, Lucky?
No, not really. Once we actually get past the game part of the event, I think everything goes along swimmingly.
Mm-hmm.
But everything before that, I'm it's a bit of a headache.
They make you play fucking Candyland.
That wasn't the worst, but I'm just because I didn't fuck it up.
Yeah.
I won every fight, and I don't know if the dice rolls were actually again.
No, they're not randomized. It's the same fight every time.
It's the same fight every time. Oh yeah, by the way, during fucking Candyland, that's the moment I've actually realized that Marie was not actually Marie when she said she had to hide from fucking Kentucky. I was all wait a fucking goddamn minute here. Marie would love Kentucky. He's so golden.
Oh yeah, no.
That was the moment right there. I was all imposter.
Sus imposter.
Yeah. And they started doubling.
Absolutely. Regular Mary would be saying golden around Chaldea for a week.
And then, of course, as she walking around, I was all who the fuck are you? I was all this is on point. So,
I mean, I will say, like I said, there's some positives. There's some good Emiya Alter, dialogue in this, some back and forth. Edison, actually gets to, be a positive force for once.
I think someone mentioned this because they literally took out Tesla, immediately out of the story.
Yeah, so there's no reason for him to be a jerk to anybody.
No. But no, it's all he takes a very guardian approach to Voyager, and I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Constant positive reinforcement to the kid.
Yeah.
And Emiya Alter, again, despite being an alter, he's still an Emiya's, and Emiya's take care of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is it's sad, but I think that is his Bond 5 dialogue is that, he's I don't know anything anymore, but what I do know is, I will, protect the weak and crush the strong kind of a thing. It's buried still in there, even though he's had some fucked up things for his personal ending. He knows what's up. I don't have it, so I've never done his interlude, but yeah, I suspect it's probably pretty dark, but still, he's fundamentally he's still an Emiya. That's even why he's it comes pretty natural to be a knight, and just covering people's bases.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna protect people in my own way, Batman style. Whoosh! I'm out of the game. But yeah, so the overall here, we want to say the event's not all bad. There's definitely some weird cues about the writing and about the actual pacing of fights and stuff and content that I am not entirely sure what they were going for. If they were going in anything in particular, there could have just been delays and stuff. Who knows? Problems with designing really fanciful mechanics or assets or something when they were working remotely. Who knows? It was a transitional period, but it's a little awkward. I have absolutely heard people either kind of like just kind of like what would I say, like sad complaining to just like, all right, well that's nuts. And the fucking some of these bonus quests, absolute bullshit. I ended up doing the Robin Hood one, literal hidden mechanics. It's just like one of your servants has the winning hand, figure out which one. Guess what? It was MASH. I didn't get a more than 2 MASH cards to string together for like 6 turns to figure out it was her. So like I did a little bit of damage to Robin. I was just like, okay, who did that damage? I like looked away for a second. And then I literally didn't get any MASH cards, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing here? This is all right, okay, sure. I'm pretty sure it's only your front row who get randomized, but it's still dumb. It's weird. Like, the fact that they won't just tell you which servant has the winning hand is just like, question mark, question mark, question mark. Like, if you had to, like, open your servant status menu and check, that would be neat. It's literally hidden. Only trial and error will reveal it. And guess what? Command cards are randomized. So, there's no guarantee, even if you know exactly who it is. Yeah, it's kind of goofus. I haven't beaten all the bonus quests, obviously. I'm a little behind on tokens, but some of them seem a little goofy. Others are interesting wombos. They got a lot of fights, they got a lot of quests and stuff. It's interesting to be sure, but definitely like a little lackluster. I mean, I don't feel like it's quite as like the actual event mechanics are quite as grindy as like Final Guda Guda we just did, right?
Yeah.
Like that was, fairly grindy for resources. So I don't want to say it's the worst. We got, several times before this came up, not always directly related to the Requiem collab. We got several questions about what events were like bad in FGO's history. I don't think this is down there with any of that, but definitely some lessons to be learned. I do wonder if this, well, other than the fact that collab events take a long time to be rerun, but I do wonder if this is why it hasn't been rerun in a while. Like, maybe they got it in their back pocket to smooth it over a little. Because they've done that in the past, obviously. Like, Journey to the West got some quality of life stuff when it was rerun. But yeah, next week I'll be able to give my overall story thoughts. Like you said already, that once we get out of necessarily playing the games to play the games, it kind of clears up. So I'm hopeful for that to ride into that last story segment. Mm-hmm. So that'll be pretty good, And using Erice for farming and stuff seems okay, doing all right. She's decent. I'm in the middle of leveling her. Mission clearing seems pretty easy. I'm kind of glad we don't have 100 missions to track down, so I'm doing all right on that. So yeah, we'll hit you back with some more stuff later. Anybody in the Peanut Gallery or Lucky have any other commentos about the event before we move on?
Please localize Requiem so I can understand this relationship Kiyo Koyo and Erice have.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's kind of weird is, like, obviously all these characters have established relationships, and the game does a good job of pitching them to us. There's a lot of detail which is lost, especially because somehow Erice has a relationship with Kiyo Koyo, even though she's normally a T-Rex.
Yeah, like, apparently, like, her female form is just not seen, which, is, classic FGO wifeism. But I'm like, no, I want to see the relationship between this 15-year-old girl and a fucking T-Rex. This sounds amazing.
Well, and then there's also Erice's friend, who is Kiyo Koyo's master, who, by the way, I believe that's her in the 3-star CE, is Tamamo colored? Hello? She's got golden eyes and pink hair? Yeah, they do kind of save Kiyo for the end. I mean, I like those bits. That's what made me spend quartz on rolling. I was like, oh, she looks like she's got interesting stuff there. I mean, they were mentioned in the front. Actually, I can tell you why Jinako is a bonus servant. It's because there's an Avenger boss. So they gave you a Moon Cancer to use. We've talked about this last time. The bonus servant list is not the greatest. I do also hope they improve this with some of the support characters. Put everybody in the werewolf game in there. Maybe put like Helena in, because she does actually get more screen time than like Tomoe and Jinako and stuff. Throw Tesla in there for no good reason. It'd be funny.
I mean, honestly, if they put Dion, they just need to put Dion and Giles in there just so we can have some bonus sabers.
Yes, no, please, for the love of God, Summer Tomoe as well if you're gonna just make up shit. But yeah, Dion is a fairly major character, and you still didn't as a bonus servant. Fuck, Giles, Saber Giles hasn't been a bonus servant in forever. He could probably use being dusted off.
I mean, they put in Mozart of all people.
Yeah,
Mozart, when we already have Rhyme and Kirky, I'm just like, wait a minute here.
Yeah, I mean, I get you don't need to do because the servant tokens, because those are like story related. You're using the tokens in Ordat and stuff. But just like actual characters who appear, hell, fucking, you could have made a Waver a bonus servant. He appears during Ordat. Him and Iskander. Wouldn't that be crazy? Making a Waver a bonus servant? I don't know. Whatever. It's weird. I feel like they were probably rushed to finalize the list. So again, hopefully the rerun makes this better when we eventually get there. If this ever gets a rerun, who the fuck knows? I don't know how unpopular this is in Japan. I just know that a lot of our guys who also played it in JP were not huge fans. Because I can kind of understand why. If you're just reading story summaries and you can only play the battles, this one probably does seem kind of weird. Probably be like, why are there so many ghost fights? Yeah, the mechanics are probably confusing as fuck, too. At least there are visual representations, right? Like we said this before. That's another thing. There's a lot of really interesting visuals in this. Like, There's the graphic to track everybody's roles in Werewolf. They have the Ordat tracker, which is pretty basic, but still exists. There's the board tracking for the Dragon Hunt game. Kuldopoly board has the little, like, pips to let you know you're succeeding. There were some correct choices with this event design, for sure. It's just some things were a little softer. But all right, probably milked that for all we got. Let's check in the old behind the scenes then. So to wrap up extra business, Fan Servant Friday still going on. You still got 18 hours left before that poll closes. So hypothetically, some people who can vote will hear this if they have not voted. But it does look like Sojourner is going to win, fairly decent. Also, given the possible. That's not the primary thing we talk about when we do this, because we'll be talking about White Titan, but given the possible Charlemagne to FGO reveal, the fact that whenever I get to teach me, maybe next week, who knows, we'll see what I'm doing. But that might also be relevant, probably would at least mention, Excel Link, that plotline. Because if you don't know about Charlie, he's great. But yeah, so Fan Servant Friday looks pretty locked in, but you never know, there's still a few hours left, there's some chance to shake it up. I don't know how much the slice is of the Fail Betrayal crossover, but that poll is also going strong. There is once again a strong leader, but you've got a couple extra days on that, and you can vote for multiple options. So we could shake some things up. I do also want to say on a mainline, I saved it before for other stuff, but I will mention this as well. We are currently at, let me check the exact number. I think it's 3079. We've lost a couple over the past couple days. Who knows? But I do want to say I currently have a one of our lovely little bets with the audience at home, which is if you can get us to 3,100 subs, do it. You won't. I dare you. We're gonna do a special Fail Betrayal episode with Arc 5's Dimension Dragons, which is a lot of dragons, some of whom look very derpy. And I wanted to mention it here because you guys may enjoy watching me slowly melt over several hours. I will probably be joined by some of the Goop Troop. Lucky won't be there. I would not condemn him to this hell anyway. But, we're going to try. So, again, an incentive to boost those rookie numbers. We'll see what happens. And I'll come up with other bullshit sub-goals in time as well. But, that's my current thought. I figure I should say that on a mainline podcast. I also am trying to vamp so we can get a little bit over 2 hours. We very recently crossed that mark.
Yay!
Okay, so that keeps you up on the business, the polls, where things are happening. In case it wasn't clear, I mentioned there will be a Teach Me this month, but it will be on Extella. There was no poll for that because there were only 2 options last month, so it would be Extella. Spoilers. But yeah, so let's see. Is there anything else at the end to talk about? I mean, we're getting our interlude campaign. That's pretty cool. I hope to get a little ahead of the event so I can actually do some of those new interludes, because I do have a few of those characters. In fact, I think I've got everybody who's got a quartz interlude. Yeah. I don't have the skill interludes, funnily enough. That means I don't need to worry about it. But that'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I might have some half AP, which is good, 50%. Oh, the Renez buff, yeah, the interlude campaign. Yeah, if you guys are curious for that, by the way, I know Renez is a very strong support choice for us, but this improves her total overall battery potential, so keep your eye out for that. But yeah, so that's obviously coming. I think, let's see. We did this last week as well, but there was such nothing that I completely forgot what actually is next. I believe it's Las Vegas rerun. I would presume then that will probably be... Actually, this is a good question. When does the Requiem collab end exactly? I believe it's like 8-ish days. 6 days, okay, technically. The 19th. And the interlude campaign goes on until the 22nd, so probably around then is when we would get Vegas. It is also interesting. This is a flip-flop in JP. I'm looking at it right now. In June, JP did the Las Vegas rerun first, starting the 8th, and then the interlude campaign was second. It started the 29th. So we're getting that bumped up like a whole month and a half, honestly, really, because it was like the very end of June until early July. Probably why they moved it, because it would otherwise, interfere with anniversary stuff. But yeah, so yeah, they might do a release campaign for the Camelot. That would coincide with the exact end of it. I don't know for sure. We'll have to see what they decide to dig up. I think we've got a decent amount of the stuff because we got like the bed of your costume and stuff, don't we? But yeah, there's actually a decent blob of stuff in July. But if they're speeding us along, we will probably hit at least one of those because it's Hunting Quest 8. That's a week. That'll probably be the gap between Las Vegas rerun and whatever comes next. Then there's the swimsuit and AoE NP only summoning campaign. I assume we'll probably still have that. There are limited servants in that, I guess. Are they technically on rate up? No, I don't think it's an actual rate up either. So maybe we'll get that. Who knows? I don't know if that counts. But then there's the Seraph and the Oki rerun. Those are like mid to late July, so I do not know if those affect our anniversary. So those might be after, or one of them might be after. But we can probably, if they did them back to back, which is what they did in JP, we could probably fit them in before we got to anniversary. I assume as usual, anniversary will be July 4th weekend. AX is back this year, right, everybody? No, Google, I capitalized it. Not an axe with an E, potentially. All right, I'm getting a chat response. It is back. No, that you understand. I start typing Anime Expo, and it's like, Anime Expo, July 1st to 4th. Yeah. Okay, so that'll probably be, as usual, when we get our anniversary news. So let me do some calendar mojo. Yes, I'm stalling for time, but we're not exactly wasting your time. It's weird. Yes, we're adding extra time, but we're not wasting your time, because normally the shows are much longer.
Funny how that works.
So let's see. 22nd is when all the stuff we've got ends. So that gives us 1 week left in May, and then 4 weeks in June, and then technically an extra half a week in June, and then the first 3 days of July, because July 4th is a Monday, and I'm tracking from Sundays, because the 22nd is a Sunday of May. So, yeah, that's still like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks? I think, are these reruns 2 weeks or a week? So the main campaign release is 1 week, and then the rerun is 2 weeks. Yeah, I think we can all fit this. We can fit all this stuff in before anniversary. It might get a little tightly packed, but it's better than not being tightly packed. As I discussed before, in June in JP, after they got the Requiem event out, which was delayed, there were literally 2 things: a rerun and the interlude campaign. So we'll be a little tighter than that, at least. Yeah, they could overlap. I would kind of hope they don't, but it is after all only a main interlude, so it's not like it's crazy important. Unless you have missed both the rerun and the original. But there you go. That should be a fairly decent idea of where FGO is going for the next month or so. And as usual, I am absolutely calling the shot. You will get that anniversary news like right on that weekend of July 4th. The 4th is actually a Monday, so we might actually get the news ahead of time. I suspect that's when the stuff will start, though. But okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other rando news from us. We already talked about like the Alien movie and stuff, so we can go to wrap up phase.
Let's do it.
We're decently over 2 hours. Obviously, again, editing, but we'll try. I'll come up with something clever. Going to jail 25 million times. Question mark, exclamation point? I'll make something happen. But yeah, we'll wrap up. If you want more of us, tune into What's Up. Should be live stream the same day this goes public on YouTube, and if you're a patron, watching or listening early, the next day. So tune in for that for at least another couple of hours of us. Lucky will play something.
Something. Not sure what.
Who knows what yet. We'll string some stuff together. I'll make a thumbnail. I'll decide what's in it literally 5 minutes before I make it. It's fine. So what's up? It's not pre-planned. It's all about controlled spontaneity. Like jazz music and sumai ink painting. That's a quote from a novel, by the way. Don't think I'm just being like a weirdo. I am weird, but not about that. You can also, as you know, the usual shilling, if you want to get even more of us, check out Monday streams. Lucky is currently streaming Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I think we're getting pretty close to the end.
Are we?
I mean, you've gone through 2 waves of tchotchke gathering. That's usually the formula.
That's
So,
true.
There shouldn't be too much left. I don't know how many more dungeons, but shouldn't be too much longer. And after Lucky is done with that, I have locked it in. I will be taking over the main driver's seat and doing Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which I actually heard some people call the greatest games in the series, so that'll be interesting.
Okay.
They seem all right. I mean, they're definitely some of the newer, more modern ones and have a lot of different little subsystems and stuff. But we'll get into that when we get there. That's still probably at least a couple of weeks away, I would guesstimate. I need to get back to beating Skyward Sword myself, so that'll probably give me a better handle on how much we got left to go. But yeah, check out the Monday stream. Tuesdays, I get together with the Prog Crew, the Goop Troop, and we stream Fail Betrayal, where we look at Yu-Gi-Oh cards and we say funny things about their art, and occasionally we attempt to read what the cards say, sometimes successfully. And sometimes we get into long tangents. You think it's bad with just me and Lucky in the FAF zone? Imagine this with like 6 people. I think it was mostly me and Dallas, but we got in a rabbit hole about D&D Dragon Colors last week for really no reason. I was just utterly bamboozled by the way D&D handles dragons. I'm like, wait, you mean blue dragons aren't aquatic? What the fuck? They're blue. Why do they not go in the ocean? I don't know. I don't understand it. Listen, I don't write for it. I'm just like, yeah. Like there's a lot of weird stuff. There are times when arts are references to like other media, and then like God forbid there's a possible Kamen Rider reference. The rest of those guys will take the ball away from me and run with it for as long as I have patience. So it's a fun time. You should check those out. Those usually get you a couple hours. If you have some time to kill while you're farming, check out our streams. Do also check out the APs. Both parts of the Sprawl are uploaded. I just need to shoot the audio to our patrons and figure out when to make the new one public and not like crush our schedule. I might wait a couple of days, like release it on a Sunday when we're not normally releasing anything. But you should check it out. They're good. We will also be, hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody's there. I have shiny new dice for it. Ooh, this case is very padded. You can't hear them jangling there, which is probably good. But we'll be starting our Delta Green adventure this Sunday as well, and I hope you will listen to those APs. I'm very excited for it. I'm ready to bend minds. Well, we'll see. There's no guarantee that these metal dice are balanced. They seem okay, but yeah, I cannot roll mid-ling. That is correct. I only kill you or I suck. Okay, well, that's letting you know some other stuff we are doing. I don't need to let anybody know about the wanted schedule, because as we've discussed, that's probably clear until like July 4th weekend, so, But if you haven't watched Voyager, go back, check it out. It's a cool video. I yell at space a lot. Check out the streams. Check out other stuff. Watch the APs. Yeah, I think that's all the shilling I got in me. Anything you want to shout out before we go? No? Okay.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Roll my shoulders. We've been sitting here for a while. Well, let's get on out of here. I'll leave you guys to your fate. Take this chance card. It says, go to jail. Do not pass go. And while you're there, be sure to give this video a like if you liked it. If you want to leave any comments in the comments section down below, right there. Drop them for us. We love comments. After all that, you can also consider joining our Discord. Links in the video description and on our channel page. Join our Discord. You can, share your roles, post funny memes, yell about spoilers, whatever you want. So, yeah, it's good. Join Discord. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, not only so you can inflict suffering on me, but also because it's cool and it's good for us, and you can get all our videos and streams we do. Even if you're already subscribed, make sure to hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video or when we stream. It's a great time to catch up with all that sweet, sweet content. Consume content. And if you want to help us make more content for which you can consume, consider joining our channel memberships. Click that join button or the link in the description as well. Membership badges and emotes. It's cool. And, of course, like I said at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to this episode early in audio format for as little as $1 a month or $10 a year, approximately. And all of our complete backlog, audio files for this podcast, for APs, for What's Up, all that stuff goes up there. So there's a lot of stuff to chew through if you have, for instance, recently found us. At higher levels, you can get access to videos early. You can listen to the Let's Talk FGO get recorded live every week. Join our lovely peanut gallery. I almost made a joke about the cheap seats, but no, they are very much not in the cheap seats, funnily enough. But yeah, so you can really support us with Patreon. Really helps us out. It's good for us. Thumbs up. And that's it for me this week, so I guess that's everything. Time to say goodbye, everybody. Keep those dice rolling. We'll see you next time.
Next time.
Bye.
Have a good evening, everyone.